I would say even just knowing which ones, like for example, you can have like an equal sign here. You gotta be careful, but just saying that if you add these two, you get that. You know what I mean? This is payment. Oh, the subtract is like, for example, we'll go through it. Because if you have this and this, right, then to get this one, you just, you subtract. Because you know that both together, they combine to the payment, right? So this is on page 42. So let's see if the principal, yes, technically at the top, I probably gave you this. Principal is payment minus the interest. And the interest, I tell you that it's unpaid balance times the rate over 100 divided by 12, right? Like if you need to calculate this, so I probably will give you those formulas later on, but this is just part of it. So you go 1200 minus 920, and you get 280. This is 280. And so this plus that does give you the monthly payment, right? It checks out. But in order to get this, you need to use that formula. So those formulas to get it, but then you go backwards like that to get your payment, right? So there we have it. So your unpaid balance is this. Okay. What does that mean? What was it before? Right, the purchase price. So there would have been a number maybe up here. Can you do the mental math? Like it would be 192,000, right? So technically, there used to be 192,000 and you went minus 280 to get that, right? So it still checks out. And then this one is the trickiest one of all. When you have two blanks, then you need to go back here, subtract the two, right? So I'm going to say like this. I'm going to subtract these two to give me that. So let's go ahead and use our calculators for it. 191, 720 minus 191, 438.66. That's 281.34. Hold it. Does it make sense? Does it make sense to have a slightly bigger number here? You can even check here. It's like, hey, yeah, this one is bigger than what so slowly over time, more and more of your payment goes towards principal, goes towards paying off your loan. And this number, the interest, is slowly going down because you owe less and less and less, right? So to get this one, I would just go payment to 1200 minus that one. 1200. So that's 918.66. Okay. So we started here, filled in this, then so maybe I'll do that. I got that, then I went there and I filled this in, right? Okay, next. This is already partially filled in. So with this, we're going to use the 1200 minus the principal portion to get my interest. Just think about it. Could you use I equals PRT to fill this in? You don't know the interest rate, right? You don't know the interest rate, so that one wouldn't really work here. So 1200 minus 284.04, 915.96. And this number, so this number allows me to find that. So I'm going to say, hey, I used it here. I will also use it here. Like I'm going to subtract 284.04 from my previous unpaid balance. So 191, 438.66 minus 284.04. So here we have it, 191,154.62. So these are actually more popular than the full-on completely blank on the provincial exams. More popular. What's the original mortgage amount? I'm going to say 191,720 plus 280. Right? It's 192,000. So basically just go backwards, right? It's like, hey, to get this number, I would have had to subtract it from something. So you just go back up, like you add, oops, that's dangerous because you'll be like, yeah, plus or minus. No, it's plus 280. Maybe I'll highlight this. So this 280 came from over here, right? What is the interest rate for this mortgage? I'm not going to go there. They won't ask that. I just thought maybe that would be interesting. Could you determine the total interest paid? That one, like this is down here, way down here. Could you determine the total interest paid? What do you think? Yes or no? Think about it a little bit. What do you need for TI? What do you need for total interest? Your formula for TI, what does it ask for? Payment times 12 times years. Oh, we don't know the years. Minus the loan. Do we know the loan? Actually, we do. Yeah, we do know that it's the original loan is 192. We know that our payments are 1,200, but we don't know the time, right? The total time. Or is there a way? There is a way, but to be fair, they will never ask you those questions. I sometimes go too crazy. It would be cool, like you could do it. You could do some backwards thinking, but let's not bust our brains on a Friday, right? With that, I just want you to be able to do. To be quite honest, this is what you should be able to do. Fill in one of these. Okay. What's our time? I need to be mindful of that. So let's go to 41. Let's go to 41 and do a full-on example that is completely blank. You have to do every single cell you have to calculate. Okay, so some of you started it. I appreciate that. 185,000 is a 25,000 down payment, 6% over 25 years. Start the chart with the unpaid balance as well as the equity, the amount you own. So the unpaid balance would go right here. Nope, sorry. What's my unpaid balance? It's the difference between these two. The loan, yes. So how about I will just start the payment first and foremost. Payment is 185, 1024. Okay, thank you. It is 1024. Yeah, perfect. So 1,000, and this is 640 from the chart. This is from the pink chart. Strongly encourage you to state this number. Okay, 160,000. So when you take 160 times this divided by that, you get 1,024. Thank you. Per month. So that payment stays the same. So we're going to go ahead and fill that in. And if you want full marks, if you care for full marks, make sure you have dollar signs everywhere. Find that a little unfair that the province would take it away if even one is missing, but that's how they go with it. And so this is 160,000 here, unpaid balance. What's my equity? It is actually the 25,000. That's what you own right at the beginning, right? You pay that down. So this column is not always there, but it's kind of cool to see, hey, you actually, 25,000 is yours. 160 you still owe, right? So let's do the interest. Interest is unpaid balance times interest rate, not table rate, divided by 100, all of that divided by 12. So in this case, my unpaid balance is 160,000. Interest rate 6% divided by 100. All of that divided by 12. Here we go. 160,000 times 6 divided by 100. All of that divided by 12. See, folks, in life, if you don't have adding or subtracting happening, then you can just follow the operations as you wish. But if there's ever some adding and subtracting, you need to do that first if it's in brackets, okay? You can't just do it all in one shot. So that's divided by 12, that's 800 bucks. Like the insurance one, you need to first do the part that's multiplying before you add. Okay, so 800, which means that principal is payment minus I, right? We usually go from left to right when we fill it out completely. So this would be 1,024 minus 800. That will leave me with 224. And so the 224 brings down my unpaid balance. So unpaid balance, I'm not going to put a formula there because I think it gets confusing. I'm just going to show you that I subtract. And so that's 159,776 exactly. And so what's happening to my equity? If you pay off an extra 224, what you owe goes down, but what you own, the part you own in the home, goes up by the principal. So now you have 25,224. Not a whole lot, but over time that adds up. Next, one more time. So now this is what we owe. So we got to do this one more time. 159,776. And you know what? I'm just going to go 0.06 here. That's what 6 divided by 100 is. Divide that by 12. When you type this in, you get 798.88. So slightly less interest paid now. 1,024 minus 798.88. Here we go. That's 225.12. And remember, these two, P and I, always add up to your payment. If it doesn't happen, then something is wrong. So we're going to go minus 225.12 plus 225.12. Always knowing that this column isn't always going to be there on my tests or ACs, okay? It's just, I think it's a cool concept. So 159,776. What did I do? Answer to the power 3? That's not good. 159,776 minus 225.12. That's 159,550.88. 159,550.88. And this column here, if you add it, it's 25,449 and 12 cents. So I'm just gonna, oh, what? I forgot a zero up here, guys. Just make sure you have, it's 160,000. It's still right. Everything else is right. I just gotta make sure there's that. Eventually your equity is gonna be 185,000, right? Eventually, because 25,000, you keep adding, you'll have 185,000 of equity, meaning you own the entire house, all of it, okay? One more time. There you go. Let's do one more and then you can probably call it quits for today. 159,550.88 times 0.06. Don't forget to divide by 12. There you go. 797.75. And then it's 1,024 minus 797.75. So if you subtract them, you get 226.25. then this principal brings down your unpaid balance, but it increases your equity part. Equity is what you own in the home, right? So this would be 159,324.63, and this would be 25,675.37. So after 3 months, you can say that your equity that you've built in the home is 25,675. Let's answer these last two questions here. Those are important to me. How much interest was paid over 2 months? So the first 2 months, I mean with that. So we're going to add up, 800 and 798.88, right? These two. And that is 1598.88. So the first 2 months, you almost paid $1,600. And think about it, just a quick mental math. You've made 2 payments, right? That's about $2,000, or just over $2,000. And out of that, 1,600, that's their money. So, ouch, right? Not fair. Total interest. Can we do it? This time we can, because we have our monthly payment. We're making those every month. So this would be how much you paid in 1 year, right? And in this case, it's done over 25 years. Then we subtract 185 or 160. It's 160, right? That's what you borrowed. So you're saying, I borrowed 160, I paid you back this much over 25 years, right? So that difference is your, this gives you 307,200 minus 160. So over 25 years, you paid back 307,000. So that gives you 147,200. But remember, your house is probably worth, let's say 400,000, probably, most likely. So you still have a way to get that back once you sell, right? So keep that in mind. But this is also called the cost of borrowing, the finance charge. Remember, I throw those words at you because the province does that too. So if you ever see like what's the finance charge, you should know, oh, that's the total interest. No problem. Right? I'll say finance charge. One more time. Can't hear it enough times. And that's it for this week. Maybe what I will say is try page 42, like try one more. I will post more than that most likely. So I'll just say try page 42. Is there another partially filled in? Because if there is, yeah, 46 and page 46. Because that one is just partially filled in. So it's just add and subtract and you're done. So if you want to have practice on that, it's hard to do on whiteboards, to be honest. So I will post those answers